Hi guys, today we are taking a look at Nutri Balance from Pets at Home. So if you're wondering whether this is a good or bad food for your dog, this video is going to explain it all. And at the end of the video, we will be ranking the food and seeing where it stacks up. But before we start, my name is Sam. I'm a dog and cat nutritionist, and I am the proud owner of a chain of independent pet shops that focuses on nutrition. And every single week, hundreds and hundreds of dogs and cats sometimes come through our branches and we solve their problems with nutrition. Nutrition is what we do. And if you're also into nutrition, I want to know more about the best food for your dog, please do me a favor and subscribe to the channel right now. Now let's get straight into it. Nutri Balance from Pets at Home. So what we see here from Pets at Home is that this food is a complete dry pet food that is developed by pet nutritionists, and it features a nutrient-rich meal that includes essential vitamins and minerals to support your dog's growth. We are going to take a look at the small and medium breed puppy dry dog food. Now, the best thing you can do anytime you are trying to ascertain whether a food is good or bad is you read the ingredients, as you would do if you had a little kid, your little son or your little daughter. You would check the ingredients on the back of everything you give them, and you would see whether the ingredients are good or bad. In this case, we have chicken meal, which is 30%. So the first ingredient is chicken meal, and that comprises 30% of the food. The good thing is that the first ingredient is an animal protein. And as we say all the time, you want to be paying for meat. You want to be paying for meat in the supermarket, and you want to be paying for meat in pet food. That's what costs money, and that's what we want to do. The problem with the word meal is that any meat meal is made from the parts of animal that aren't consumed by humans. It could be up to a third or a half of the original animal, and generally includes some residual meat, offal, connective tissues, and in some case bones. According to UK feedstuffs regulations, meat meal should be virtually free of hair, bristle, feathers, horn, hoof, and skin, and of the contents of the stomach and viscera. So it's a bit of a rendered powder that is then reconstituted and added to the kibble and put into kibble form for your puppy. So it isn't the best quality protein. That's what I'm trying to say. It isn't the best quality chicken you are getting here. The second ingredient is whole maize. The third ingredient is rice. And then we have poultry oil. We then have maize gluten meal and sugar beet pellets. Now, whole maize isn't a very good ingredient for dogs. Whole maize is a high glycemic carbohydrate. It's hard for dogs, for puppies to digest, and they have a pretty hard time with all these fillers. The third ingredient is rice. Rice, again, isn't really appropriate for a dog. They cannot chew, they cannot masticate. So if you gave your dog rice, they would get it everywhere because their jaws aren't very well equipped to chew in rice. They don't have this enzyme called amylase in the mouth to break down starches, so it isn't a very good ingredient. So the chicken meal, it's okay. The second ingredient is whole maize. I would never feed my dog whole maize. I don't like maize, and I don't like rice. The fourth ingredient is poultry oil. The problem with poultry and the word poultry is that we do not know what specific animal is going into the recipe each batch. If a manufacturer says lamb fat or sardine fat or chicken meal or whatever, they are legally obliged to comply with those nomenclatures, with those names, and they have to give you that product. When they leave it open as poultry, they might change the recipe batch to batch, and so if your dog becomes allergic to someone, you will not be able to pinpoint what your dog is getting. The second food we are going to look at is the Nutri Balance large breed puppy, and this is the chicken flavor again. We have the same sort of ingredients. We have chicken meal, and that's 28%. We like chicken. We don't really like the term meal. Meal is a rendered powder. It's not the real thing, I suppose. We then have whole maize. Maize isn't an ingredient I like in pet food altogether. It's a cheap ingredient. It's something that your dog might find hard to digest. We then have rice. and then we get into poultry oil. And again, we have maize gluten meal and chicken digest, 2%, salmon oil, okay, 1.5%, etc., etc. All in all, the protein content is 26%. That's the crude protein, and that isn't very high for a dog food. So whole maize, I don't like. Rice, I don't like. Poultry oil, I'm not a massive fan of. Chicken meal, 28%, okay. I am not a fan of everything else. Now, the one thing they do not include is chondroitin or any sort of glucosamine that aids joints with large breeds. Anytime you have a large breed puppy or a large breed full stop, your dog's joints are subject to more pounding and to more deterioration. That's why some dog foods and some supplements contain chondroitin and glucosamine, and this particular food, unless I'm looking into the wrong thing, doesn't contain it, which is something I'm not a massive fan of. If you are buying something large breed, you should probably get something with glucosamine and chondroitin to aid your dog's joints, and that's just my personal opinion being a dog nutritionist. Moving on, we have the Nutri Balance Poopy Wet Dog Food Chicken with Rice. Straight away, I don't like rice in pet food. The first ingredient is 56%. The second ingredient is cod, wonderful. Chicken and a bit of fish, wonderful stuff. We then have dried rice, 4%, which is equivalent to 9% rice, and that's very important. Remember when I said that rice expands when you cook it? The manufacturer might only be saying 4%, but it's equivalent to 9%. So 10% of the overall recipe is rice. And I do thank Pets at Home for actually putting the equivalent to 9% rice, because a lot of manufacturers just omit this fact altogether. They just put 4% rice and that is it. So I do like that they are honest with their ingredients. We then have some minerals, beet pulp, salmon oil, etc., etc. I like the chicken, I like the cod. I am not a fan of rice. I am not a fan of rice in pet food. Moving on, we have the Poopy Wet Dog Food, and this is the chicken with rice, and this is the individual trays, and the individual trays are exactly the same, but they include pork. So we have chicken, 56%, that's a high proportion of chicken. The second ingredient is cod, that's 4%, and then we have pork. Dried rice, it's 1.6%, equivalent to 4% rice. Again, rice expands when you cook it. So you aren't only feeding your dog rice, you are also feeding your dog all the protein. So if your dog is allergic or potentially reactive or has a bit of an intolerance to any of the proteins, such as pork, for example, you are feeding your dog pork. So it's very, very important for you to read all the ingredients to see if your dog is consuming something that is potentially not the best for them. So it's always very, very interesting for you to read all the ingredients. All in all, for the puppy range, I am not a fan of some of these ingredients. I'm not a fan of maize, I'm not a fan of rice, and these tend to sometimes spur a lot of the allergies we see. These tend to be a lot of the potential allergens that puppies get with your maize gluten meal, your rice, your unspecific poultry oil. These ingredients tend to be sometimes the ones that are potential allergens. And by the way, if you want to know what the best dog food is, you can download How to Feed Your Dog Better, which is a guide we are giving out for free, and the link will be in the description. How to Feed Your Dog Better, link in the description. Moving on, we have the small and medium breed adult dry dog food, and this is the chicken recipe. The ingredients are chicken meal, 24%. This is quite low. This is lower than the puppy, which is a bit of a disappointment. We have whole barley, whole maize, rice, poultry oil, turkey meal, and sugar beet pellets and turkey digest, etc., etc. So they do say that it's chicken, but it's chicken and turkey. It isn't just chicken, it's chicken and turkey. Chicken meal, it's quite low. Again, it's not the best quality chicken. It's meal, is the rendered powder we explained in the beginning of the video. We then have whole barley, whole maize, and rice. Those are three very high glycemic carbohydrates. These are carbohydrates we do not like to see in dog food. Dogs have a hard time digesting carbohydrates. They don't secrete the right enzymes to break them down in the mouth, and a lot of these will go largely undigested, and that's why your dog's stools might be a bit more runny than normal if you feed them too many carbohydrates. We then have poultry oil, which is again quite unspecific, and we want specificity in our pet's food. Whenever I look at my own diet and what I'm giving my dog, I want to know precisely what I'm giving them and what I'm giving myself. We then have turkey meal, which is okay, and that's 4%. So if your dog is reactive to turkey, for example, and you give your dog chicken, your dog is going to potentially have a bit of a reaction to the turkey, but we don't know because I don't know the particulars of your dog. Moving on, we have the large breed adult dry dog food, and this is the chicken recipe once again. The ingredients are whole barley, and that's the first ingredient. I don't like that. All the other recipes so far have started with a chicken protein, chicken meal 26%, chicken meal 30%, whatever the case might be. In this case, whole barley is the first ingredient. I do not like barley or anything that isn't an animal protein to be the first ingredient. It should be the first ingredient. Again, we want to be paying for meat in the restaurant, in the supermarket, and in pet food. In pet food, we always want to be paying for more meat than anything else. We then have chicken meal, 18%, whole maize, rice, and poultry oil, and turkey meal with 4%. So in my opinion, this is a worse recipe than the others because barley is the first ingredient. I don't like barley. As a generic rule of thumb, I don't like wheat, barley, corn, soy. I don't want meat and animal derivatives in pet food. I don't want anything unspecific like poultry. I don't want rice. I don't like sugar or any sugar derivatives in pet food. And these are extremely prevalent in pet food. And these are ingredients that are the potential allergens that we all know about. So if you have a very itchy dog, if you have a dog with good health issues, then a lot of these ingredients are going to contribute to a lot of the health issues we see all the time. Let's look at the small and medium breed senior dry dog food, and this is the chicken recipe again. So the ingredients are again whole barley, chicken meal 24%, whole maize, rice, sugar beet, pellets, poultry oil, turkey meal. You know what I think about this. I do not like the first ingredient being whole barley. Chicken meal, I'm not a massive fan of, but it's 24%. That means that barley is over 24%, and that is a lot of filler in my opinion, and a lot of barley to be giving your dog every single day, 2 or 3 times a day for years and years, and that's only my personal opinion, and I don't like that. Let's look at the Nutri Balance senior wet dog food, and this is the chicken with turkey and rice. So I like it's chicken with turkey, and they are telling you that it's chicken with turkey. The ingredients here are chicken 34%, turkey 20%, cod 4%, pork and dried rice 1.6%, equivalent to 4% rice. This is probably the best wet food you can get out of the whole lot so far. Chicken 34%, turkey 20%, cod 4%, and then we have a bit of pork. So if your dog doesn't have any issues whatsoever, any intolerances whatsoever, and you want to feed this, I would feed this wet food to puppies. I would feed this wet food to your regular dog if it's an adult dog or senior. It doesn't really matter. Good food is good food and bad food is bad food. If I had to choose one, I would probably give this one to my dog if I had nothing else. And once again, they include a little bit of glucosamine, which aids joints as dogs age, and that helps with connective tissues. That's wonderful. That's really, really good. They also add turmeric and chondroitin, which I was talking about before. So turmeric is an anti-inflammatory. It's a wonderful supplement that you can get for your senior dog. My dog is a senior dog and he's on turmeric and glucosamine and chondroitin and all that good stuff. All in all, this is probably the best one out of the whole bunch that I see. Moving on, we have the adult wet dog food, chicken with turkey and rice. We have the ingredients: chicken 28%, turkey 28%, cod 4%, dried rice 4%, equivalent to 9%. And this is once again an okay wet food. It's not as good as the senior one, and I would rather you feed the senior than this one because in my opinion it has a lot more. But the chicken 28%, turkey 28%, cod 4%. You want to be paying for meat and they are giving you meat in this recipe. So this is better than the others. It's not a premium food by any means, by any stretch of the imagination, but nevertheless, this is a lot better than the other ones we have been discussing. So what is the full verdict about this brand? Well, it's a budget brand and you are paying a relatively low amount of money for dog food and for pet food in general. So they are cutting corners and they are making compromises. So it isn't really a criticism on Pets at Home's part. They are just trying to fit the budget and to give you some ingredients that will fit that price tag. Some of the ingredients aren't good at all. I don't like them. I don't promote them. And those are the potential allergens that a lot of dogs are subject to. This food is likely going to be recommended by default, like any other foods from Pets at Home. And so whenever anyone is trying to sell you something, or whenever anyone is trying to be like, hey, just buy this because we sell it, that's not the right way to sell stuff, in my opinion. It should always fit your particular circumstances and the circumstances of your dog. If this food suits you and suits your lifestyle and your dog is okay on it, then be my guest and buy it and enjoy it and don't think twice about it. But if you are thinking about something a bit more premium and you are thinking a bit more in depth about what else is there, what can I feed my dog that's a little bit better than whole maize and rice and wheat gluten and all these ingredients that I don't like in pet food, then by all means, there are much better options and there are absolutely everywhere. All in all, this is a pretty subpar product in my opinion. It's a budget product, so we have to categorize it where it fits. It's going to fit a very specific person with a limited maybe amount of resources, and I do not begrudge anyone with limited amounts of resources. I do absolutely understand, I empathize with those people, but at the same time, this is not a product I would recommend. We would never stock anything with maize or rice or wheat gluten or poultry meals in our branches, and these aren't products, these aren't ingredients we would feel comfortable selling in our branches, but that is just me. And if you are curious, and if you're truly curious about what the best dog food is, you can see the full ranking here.